What's up, guys? What's up? How you guys doing today? Yeah, I'm back here, back in the comfort of my home, and I figured I'd go and talk about some versus stuff today. Simply because last time I was doing this, versus wasn't. I don't even think versus was a thing last time I uploaded something review related. Yeah, I think when I was making those beats and those chops, yeah, I think versus was doing this thing. But even then, I don't think I was that into it. But I want to say number one, I love the concept and all that stuff. I've definitely watched a few. I remember my first one that I watched in full that I was really interested in was Premier versus RZA. That was about a year or so ago, and that one caught my attention because it's Premier and RZA. Nothing against like the Manny Fresh versus Scott Storch, or what was it Boy Wonder versus Hit Boy? I think it was one of something like that. But I wasn't really interested in those, so I kind of just skipped over them. I did watch a few other ones. I tried to watch the Nelly versus Ludacris, but that one had internet problems, I believe, on both sides. I did live stream on Facebook as much as I could the Fab versus Jada, so I was able to watch that massacre, and we'll get to Jada Kiss in a minute. But yeah, I was able to watch that and a few others I don't want to go through because I only got like a short time limit, 20 minutes. So basically, let's get the verses. Let's get this one thing out of the way before I even continue with the verses talk. So basically, okay. So as some of you guys know, if you've seen my Instagram, or it's not on YouTube, but you guys have to go to my Instagram basically to basically see what I'm talking about. On my Instagram, I post up pictures and Photoshop pictures that I do because I like art, and a lot of the art that I like is very diversified. I could go from drawing to photoshopping to even literature. Sometimes I just write out some stuff, but art is art, right? So I Photoshop for this website called Boxing, right? And I basically do threads on what if versus, basically which ones would be cool to see, which ones I would think make the most sense, and all that stuff. And I usually make up sort of like realistic style photos as if the battles were happening to entice more conversation and to get people more into the conversation, right? So that people could like enjoy the thread more and get more into it, more in depth, as opposed to this person will win, or I think this person will win. Nah. I feel like with an image there that looks official, that it would draw people in more to be more serious about the conversation, because that's what you want. At least for me, when I create a thread and I ask a question, I really want to go like deep into people's minds and see what they really think about who would win and such. Kind of like if you're in a barbershop talking about like a boxing match or debate between rappers or anything sports related. You really want to hear what a person has to say in depth as to why somebody will win, because it makes it that more intriguing. So basically, I've done plenty of them, but recently I did one called Fugees versus the Roots. To me, I figured it made sense. Fugees and Roots are both known for instrumental playing rap groups. I say instrumental playing rap groups because you got people that play instruments and they also have MCs within the group. I would say that Roots probably look at themselves more like a band in a group than the Fugees do, because I think Pras even made a quote about that. But the point is, I did it as a point to as a point for discussion, because that was one of my what ifs, like who would win. However, I did it so realistic that it caught the attention of a lot of people, and some random person, this wasn't me, I want to clarify this, some random person from allhiphop.com took the picture from there, because it was the only place that was basically, excuse me, that was where the image was posted. Took it from there. They say they got it from Twitter, but I don't know. But they took it from there, and they posted it on allhiphop.com and wrote an article about it. Now I want to say first and foremost that it was a what if, because then it got to the point where everybody was talking about it. The Source magazine said something about it. A couple of other websites, but it eventually got to fucking Black Thought himself. Black Thought, one of my favorite MCs. I respect the Roots a lot, and the fact that it got to him and he had to dumb the picture down because he was only like deconfirming it. But the fact that a lot of people thought that I did it for clout or anything. Like, I don't do things like that for clout. Again, I did it for the purpose of like enticing people into a conversation in the thread. It's not for me to go ahead and try to promote as if it's actually happening. Because if that was the case, then I would actually put that it's actually happening. But the title of the thread is "What If." That should already give you indication that it's false from the start. It's not happening. But Black Thought got a hold of it from people from allhiphop.com, and he deconfirmed it, and then I got everywhere as well. So I just want to make that clear that it was not happening. Anytime I do any of those, it's only in fun. It's not to be taken seriously. That's why I always have "What If," and I'll probably still keep doing it. I'm not gonna let this stop me. It's not my fault. People got confused and thought it was real. I mean, for now, I'll probably have to put "What If" in the actual photos because people can't see the thread titles and stuff of that nature. But stuff happens, I suppose. All right, now let me see how much time I got. I got plenty of time. So, okay, so I got that out the way. I guess I guess the one thing, even though that's probably a negative that I look at it, because I didn't want it, because I don't know how to feel about that particular situation getting that much attention, since the attention that it got was for the wrong reasons. But I will say that I think that it's pretty awesome that I got the attention of Black Thought. So I mean, shit, it's Black Thought. You know what I mean? The guy, most of you guys may look at and know the roots for the Jimmy Fallon, appearances and stuff like that. But for hip hop aficionados, you guys know the fucking roots, man. I mean, everything from Organics to the last album. Some of my favorite. I mean, there's a lot of roots. I can't say which one is my favorite one. Probably Things Fall Apart, but I also love Illadelph Half-Life, but whatever, we're getting off topic. So, I mean, we're on topic because it has to deal with verses, but to move on to the versus topic that I want to continue, I want to talk about the latest battle that happened recently, Lox versus Dipset, which I still feel it should have been called D Block versus Diplomats, because at the time, the Lox weren't known as the Lox when they were competing with Dipset and G Unit for mixtapes. They were branded as D Block. They didn't go back to the Lox till like years later, even when they kicked J Hood, or even when J Hood left the group. They were still D Block for a short period of time. They didn't get back into being called the Lox until like 2010, maybe. But from 2000 to 2010, for that one decade, they were D Block. So I thought it should have been called D Block versus Dipset, Diplomats, or whatever. I also feel like G-Unit should have been a part of that. I feel like this was a good opportunity for Swizz and Timbaland to do a triple threat versus and have basically... Because look, here's the thing. Even though you had a lot of groups out at that time, crews that were doing mixtapes and making hits on the albums and stuff, such as like State Property or Desert Storm or the all-new Terror Squad at the time, the big three in the tri-state area and the East Coast when it came to mixtapes and album success was G-Unit, D-Block, and Dipset. It was always a conversation between those three who people thought were better. And this is a dream scenario because 50 said that he's not interested in doing verses, which I can't imagine why he would be anyway. I mean, it'd be cool, but realistically looking at it, he's a businessman, and every time someone in the hip-hop world comes up with a cool brand or something, a company that shoots hip-hop into the stratosphere, 50's always looking to compete rather than collaborate. He did it with Dre with the sleek headphones when Dre did the beats. And I think he mentioned that he wanted to do something similar to what Jay-Z did with Tidal. He wants to create something like 50's a competitor. Plus, he's doing TV shows right now. He has a lot on his plate. So, I mean, versus is the last, like, going song for song with somebody is the last thing that's probably on his mind. He probably entertained it when it was quarantine, and, like, he didn't mind doing one with Game, but, now that everybody's back outside, that's far from his mind. And I think Fat Joe on his latest show, the Jopra Show, or the Fat Joe Show, whatever it's called, on Instagram, you can go check that out. He confirmed it as well. He said he spoke to 50. 50 said, I'm chill on that. But my dream scenario would have been G-Unit with 50 Cent, Boy Banks, Tony Ayo, Young Buck. I'll say, okay, Banks and Buck probably wouldn't be realistic at this point in time because of the fact that, first of all, him and Young Buck will probably never reunite again unless it's an extravagant amount of money, and even then, I think Buck has been disrespected. Like he went back twice and got outs twice, so like he would look crazy trying to go back again. And then him and Banks, this is kind of like one of their first fallouts in public. It's not as serious as Buck's, but at the same time, I think Banks did throw a couple darts at 50's way on his album. So, I mean, 50 probably isn't taking lightly to that. So, I mean, realistically, it would probably be 50 Yayo and Game, just because he's cool with Game now. All that's been ironed out, and Yayo and 50 are always going to be, from what it seems like, even with the disagreements. But the dream scenario would have been, for me, have G Unit there with 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, Young Buck, and Game. Because I think when there was 5 of them, they were unstoppable. I think all of their first albums went platinum with the exception of Yayo. I think he went gold. And I think Beck from Mystery went platinum. So that first phase of G Unit is fucking incredible. So those 5 against D Block, which is essentially the Lox. But I would ask for J Hood to come along. I thought J Hood was going to come out in this previous battle. And I'll get to this previous battle. And so I would have them 4, Jadakiss Style, Sheik, J Hood. And then I'll have Dipset. Now the Dipset that should have been there is the Dipset I would have had in this dream scenario, which is not just Cameron, Jewels, Jimmy, and Freaky Zeke, but that's also J.R. Ryder, 40 Cal, Hell Rel, and fuck it, just for fun, throwing Uncasa. Fuck it. I would have had those 3 teams with those specific rosters in the verses to battle out for mixtape New York group supremacy. Even though G technically has 2 people that are not from New York, one's from the West Coast, one's from the South, Compton and Memphis respectively. But still, that would have been the dream scenario, but it wasn't. Instead, we got the Lox versus Dipset, which is the 3 Lox members without J Hood versus the 3 Dipset members with the rest of Dipset, like J.R. Ryder, Hellwell, and 40 Cal in the crowd, which was, I mean, they further explained at this point. They further explained up until this point why, though they didn't participate. They tried to make it happen, but then something went wrong. So they just came out for the fight, the pre-show fight, walked out with the fighters. I think they walked out with the champion, and then after that they took the seats and they just watched. So I wanna make this recap quick because this happened some time ago, almost about a month from today, and I want to get on the one that's upcoming. So this one. For me, I just feel like I felt it could have been way more competitive. Unfortunately, from the looks of it, I'm gonna just basically be echoing what everybody else said, man, and that's the fact that Dipset did not come prepared. I think they thought this was gonna be something where they just got. I thought maybe, and I don't know if I can even say this as an excuse because after looking at the post interviews from the Lox, it seemed like they were antagonizing them the whole time, all the way up until they were ready to go out on stage. Because, like, Styles even said that when they were on the way, when Lox was being called out to go on stage by Michael Buffer, that he even went to Dipset's locker room and just screamed, "Let's go!" Like, he started shouting. And, whatever. So, Styles and Jim were going back and forth on Instagram. That was basically the build up to this. And but as they would later reveal on interviews like Breakfast Club, the Lox were rehearsing every day, not every day maybe, but like every other day with technician, doing sound checks and everything, making sure the sound quality was good. Whereas Dipset, pretty much, I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't get together at the last minute or if they got together at all. It would be sad if they only got together to do the fucking video trailer that they did previous to the verses, where they were in Miami in the beach in Cam's house, which that was crazy when Jadakiss told Cam he lived in Miami after Cam tried to stun on them, saying that we're home in Harlem. But, man, yeah, so then not only did they not come prepared, but they looked like they were coming to perform a concert. The Lox looked like they wanted to battle. Dipset looked like they wanted to perform a concert show, And they didn't do them any good. Cam brought out the beach chair. Cam got pulled on by Styles, kicked Styles in the chest. Freaky Zeke had to separate him as well as Sheik. Jewels, I understand everybody's clowning Jewels for that look, but I will say I understand it. Jewels is going back to his diplomatic immunity days, that era of attire, but just updating it with the colors and stuff. So I'm probably the only person that wasn't upset. That was kind of cool. I will say though, mid battle towards the end, he did transition from his diplomatic immunity look to his later, I can't feel my face slash with the game's been missing look with just the bandana around him, which was kind of a cool transition. It got to show you the evolution of Jewels. But man, Jewels forgetting the lines to "I'm ready," which was ridiculous. Which, by the way, before Versus even posted that picture with Michael Buffer, I was on Boxton already predicting that Michael Buffer's going to do the intro because this is too big of an event, and it's the first one that's live in person in Madison Square Garden where people could buy tickets. I'll make this real quick. And I predicted that the first song that the Lox was going to do was "Fuck You," and that the first one that Dipset was going to do was "I'm Ready." I predicted all that shit. And I can't believe I predicted that perfectly. Even with the Michael Buffer thing. But man, so yeah, continuing. Yeah, so Joel's forgetting his lines. Jimmy forgetting his lines. Jimmy falling off stage. He says he dove for a ring and Sheik tried to back him up saying that that's true. But I don't know. That looked like a straight fall. Joel's getting his bandana snatched and thrown on the ground without the proper retaliation. I mean, I'm not a tough guy, so I'm not going to be able to talk. But at the same time, that looked nuts. And fucking Cam getting booed in Manhattan. I felt bad. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of felt the pain in Cam's voice when he was trying to play it off. Like, y'all got that, y'all got that. Man. And yeah, then the nail in the back was that DJ that they had, which was nuts. I don't know what he was doing. As well as the half of Dipset being in the crowd. Like, JR, Hellwell, 40 Cal, they were in the crowd, man. So Jada is 2-0. Maybe next time I'll do a video talking about what I think Jada would do to complete a trilogy versus. I did a thread unboxing, but I'll do one as a video format. Now, with the limited 4-minute time I got left, let's talk about the up and coming one. Fat Joe versus Ja Rule as a follow up to Lox and Dipset. I don't think it's good, just because I'm gonna be 100% honest right now. I know a lot of people. Some people are saying Ja Rule should win, or he will win. He's gonna smoke Joe. I don't know. I think those are people that a lot of people sleep. I noticed a lot in history. In the history of hip hop, Joe has said this himself, and I actually agree. I think a lot of people sleep on Fat Joe, or just plain don't like him, or just underestimate him. I don't know why, but they just do. Maybe because Fat Joe always had talent that he put on around him that probably were better, whether it was lyrically, like Big Pun, Cuba Link, and the other Terror Squad members, or maybe because they had better personalities that stood out, like DJ Khaled, or the fact that he put out one of the best female MCs, and Remy Ma, that probably all outshadowed what Fat Joe had to bring himself. But Fat Joe is no slouch, man. Like, I would say that Ja Rule had a run from 98, and I could include 98 because he had the song Can I Get a What with Jay-Z in the middle of Hard Knock Life Volume 2, all the way into 2004, right? That was his run. He had a few hits here and there. Like in 2009, he had the Mirror album that had Uh-Oh with Lil Wayne that blew up. But unfortunately, 50 got so big and so powerful, and he got Shady and Aftermath as well as Interscope all to team up with 50 in order to shut Murder Inc. down, as well as Murder Inc. having their own problems, that it stopped and halted Ja Rule to the point where his run is literally from 98 to 2004 with some 1 or 2 hits sprinkled from that point onwards. So I would estimate that Ja has a good 40 hits, and then if you want to include his writing, the thing is, the only person that's used their writing in a battle in the hip hop verses is Jadakiss when he played Diddy's verse against Fab, which was the victory verse. Nobody else that is a hip hop writer, that the hip hop artist that was a writer in the hip hop verses has done that. So I don't know if Ja was even gonna get in his writing bag for that. But if Ja Rule does not get into his writer bag credit, then I say Ja has the top maybe 40 hits tops, 40 bangers. Versus Fat Joe that has a plethora of them from 93. You gotta understand, I was born in 92. Alright, we're about to finish. I was born in 92. Fat Joe's first album was in 93. This man has at least 29 years of consistent hits that he could choose from. I will say that Ja's is probably going to be a lot easier because he just has a shorter selection of hammers that he could just pick and make an easy 20. Versus Joe that has 29 years worth of hits that he has to construct 20 in. Now, will they do the same thing that Dipset and Lox did and play multiple songs within a 2-minute time limit in one round? I don't know. But if they do that, I think it's even worse for Ja because, again, Ja only maybe have 40, and that's including features and not the writer's credits. If you have writer credits, he might have more. But if it's just his own songs and features, he probably has a strong 40 versus Joe, who has 29 years worth of features, his own hits, and, just crazy stuff. So, if it's not evident, I'm saying Joe is winning this. Fat Joe is winning this, and he should win this. He should be able to sweep this, but we've seen what happened. People voted for Dipset, and the Lox took him out. So who knows? If Joe doesn't play his cards right, John might just get him. But I'm gonna say that Joe's getting this. All right, guys, it's almost time, and I gotta go. I only literally have a few seconds, so yeah. I'll see you guys next time, and hopefully we can talk more then. Peace.